Hello everyone, Octem0 here, and today's Monday, you know what that means, another segment of Game Gems. Now, in this segment, I'm going to be talking about something that I really enjoyed. One of my favorite games that I've played way back when, one of the first PlayStation exclusive games I could ever play. Primal. Okay, so maybe not my first PlayStation exclusive game, but I mean it's one of the ones that I actually heard exclusive that I remember playing back then. Another thing I want to point out is that I will actually be showing gameplay this time, so you won't actually see just still images or whatnot. This is actually something that's available now on the PS4. Check it out. So Primal came out around 2003. I know that it was a PlayStation exclusive because I honestly thought it wasn't. I thought I saw it on Xbox and all that, but I guess I really wasn't paying attention. But I think what I liked most about this game was the story and the casting. I mean, honestly, the voice actors in this were phenomenal. Um, I mean, if you guys are fans of Babylon 5 or Xena Warrior Princess, I mean, you might recognize the names of Hudson Leek. I think it's Lek. I can never pronounce any of these names right. Andreas Katsoulis. Hudson voices Jen and Andreas Scree, respectively. And even Sean Pertwee. Jesus, I'm butchering these names. Was in this. If you guys are fans of Gotham, he's actually Alfred Pennyworth in that show. But he's done a bunch of cool stuff back then. My personal favorite movie with him was Dog Soldiers. That was badass. The game story is basically that Jen and her boyfriend were on their way home one night and they were attacked by a monster. Her boyfriend was taken away while she was left for dead. She awakens in a hospital room only to realize that her body's still lying there while she herself, her spirit, is able to walk freely thanks to Scree. She comes to know that she is a, I guess, champion for the Queen of Order. I can't remember if her name was Aurella. I believe that's what it is. And the story continues from there, where she has to restore balance with all the four realms. Honestly, story-wise, it's actually pretty good. The voice acting, it goes out there. It makes me think of Legacy of Kain, because even in between the cutscenes, the characters will interact with each other however they can. I do like the graphics for this game. I mean, it's not what it is today, but I mean, if you look at the gameplay and stuff, it actually looks not that bad, especially for PS2. Because the PS2 was pushed a lot, especially if you think about games like Metal Gear and God of War back then. Now, in terms of gameplay, the combat to me wasn't all that great. That's not where the game really shined at. But it was still fun, because each of the four different classes that you use in the game actually fight differently. Where the vampire-looking guys, they use a sword and a whip type combo. Let's see. What are their names? I can never remember them. Ah, here we go. The Wraiths, yeah. I mean, they're more like ghosts than anything, but they're also like vampires. The Jinn dual wield flame swords, probably the most powerful character type in the game. Although I personally prefer the Farai, because I don't know, I like how quick they are, and just, I don't know, when Jen fights, she just looks so bolstered. It just sucks though that when you try to fight these other guys with unless it's from their own world, they're not really weakened. So it makes you wonder how exactly it works. The Undine was pretty cool too, but you really were only limited to swimming, because they have gills, so Jen would suffocate otherwise. It's actually kind of funny. I also like the dynamic where you're playing as both characters. It made me think of Resident Evil Zero, because when you're playing Resident Evil Zero, you have to switch between Billy Cohen and Rebecca Chambers because one character could access areas the other couldn't. It's the same thing in this game. In Primal, Jen could get to some areas that Screek normally couldn't do, especially when she can transform and stuff. It'll allow her to access places Scree just couldn't normally go to himself. Like in the Undyne level, she did a lot of swimming, so Scree couldn't really explore as much because he was made of stone. As for Scree, he could traverse different wall types and whatnot, so he can actually climb walls where Jen couldn't reach higher places that just were inaccessible to her. He could also explore areas that are highly dangerous because he doesn't have a health bar, so he's basically invincible. That I thought was pretty helpful. But again, I think what I really liked was the way the story went, the voice acting. It's an overall fun game. I mean, I remember beating it back then, but then I also remembered how I wish there was a sequel because I felt like the game really deserves one even now. I'm hoping that I guess if enough people buy it on the PS4, it might spark Sony to want to revisit this game series because even though it ended, it ended on such an open-ended ending that it felt like there was going to be so much more. And I even looked up that they did have plans for a sequel, but they didn't know where they were going to go with it. I mean, there were some angles of an apocalyptic type war happening, and Jen was able to change at will into those different transformations and fight off this demon invasion. There were even talks that Jen's boyfriend, like, you would actually play his perspective of the story of Primal. Although, to me, that would be interesting. I don't want to really see his side of the story. I would rather play something a little bit after that of him trying to find his way home. But at the same time, it kind of falls in line on his side of the story because, you know, they would probably throw in flashbacks or something. But anyway, guys, I'm dragging this on a little bit too far. But I'm just saying, definitely check out Primal. It is probably one of the more higher game gems that I have on my list. I mean, it's up there with Onimusha and Def Jam Fight for New York because the quality is high, the gameplay is great, and it's just unfortunate they only had one game. So definitely check it out. It's on the PS4. You can buy it for just $10. Really, it is worth it. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you guys take care.